Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new review for Put a Ring on It, season 2, episode 7. Yes, I already know y'all came for the mess, so let's get into it. If we gonna get into it, let me tell y'all something. Don't skip through my video trying to get to Kai and Darion, okay? Because we're going to get into it as we get into it. But if you do happen to skip on to the end, come on back in reverse and listen to the whole video just to help a sister out. If you're new here, then welcome, like, comment, and subscribe. Child, let's get into it. So when the episode first opens up, Sean decides he's going to go on another date, right? He realizes that he's operating in fear. Boy, whatever. I find it funny that every time LaRonda is going on a repeat date, he's no longer fearful. Interesting. Dr. Nicole was pleased. He was like, we beefing though. She was like, nah, I got you. We don't have time for that, honey. We're trying to get to Darion and Kai. Moving forward. Sean said he tends to overthink things. Jessica is going on her third date with Sean, the other Sean, the one with the wobbly head and whatnot, and the game. Sean here is going on a second date with Tyree, LaRonda, and Eric. They're all going on repeat dates as well. Alexia, this is your time to focus on yourself, honey, and pack up all your things and be gone before he gets home. But that's just a side note. And for Darion, y'all know it's a meeting, honey. It's a meeting happening. She said, Darion, he said, don't call it a date. He said, call it closure. Alexia just sitting up there skinning and grinning. Honey, ooh, baby, you gonna be crying in a minute. Let's see how long before that smile is turned into a frown. She's like, okay, I'm going to call it the final meetup. The final meeting, honey, the final meeting was a meeting in my bedroom. Shout out to Silk. He said, he's looking forward to closing the chapter with Kai because every time they see each other, it's adding fuel to the fire. Sure it is. Sure. He said he doesn't know how she will react, but he knows she's going to blow up. Oh, you know why she gonna blow up. Child, I can't believe people are actually sleeping with this man. But child, let's keep going. Dr. Nicole said this week she would like them to examine their vision of marriage. A lot of people focus on the wedding, but not enough prepare for the actual marriage. Honey, let me tell you something. Now, Dr. Nicole, me and you, we really are beefing. No, I'm just kidding. But sometimes you talk like the Riddler. But on this episode, baby, that was a word, okay? Alexia says, she's nervous to talk about marriage with Darion. She's curious and she's nervous. She's like, I just don't know because he's never talked about it before. And with good reason, okay? He's like, we've made a lot of progress, so it's only up from here. Well, you may think you're Buzz Lightyear and your relationship is going to infinity and beyond, but it's not, okay? I'm here to tell you that now. Ciao, moving forward. This is the week for them to see if they're all on the same page as far as marriage is concerned. So LaRonda and Sean, they riding in the car and whatnot, and they talking about the session. And he's like, it's just really confusing because she was asking him how he thought the session went, right? She said, well, the way you describe these women, it seems like they can be someone you see yourself with. Sean just likes women, okay? I love girls, 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 girls. I do adore. Shout out to Jay-Z. He just like women, okay? I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily him thinking all these women are the one or he can see themselves with him. He just like women. That's exactly what I feel. I feel like he'll see anybody, honey. It could be Dr. Nicole that they set him up with. He gonna say, I'm a little bit nervous because I don't want to know if I really love LaRonda. Like he's gonna say that because that's how he acts. Sean said, the 100% truth is that this is the first faithful relationship that he's had. So he doesn't know what a platonic relationship is. LaRonda is getting frustrated because it seems like Sean doesn't know how to govern himself when he sees attractive women. LaRonda, I don't understand why you want him to be in tempting situations. This is my opinion. I don't see anything wrong with him not wanting to put himself in Darion's position. Okay, do you want a Darion or you want a Sean? Honey, in my opinion, I don't feel like it's anything wrong with him not wanting to be put in tempting situations. If it's to prove to you he can be faithful, honey, he's proven it thus far. Okay, so just please leave well enough alone. Over at Eric and Jessica's house, Eric comes jumping into the room, happy like a kid at Christmas. Y'all know when y'all have like little small kids and they're like, Mommy, look what I can do. That's the way Eric ran up in that room. I said, not you jumping off them stairs into this room, child. He was so happy. So then she was like, oh, you look happy. So then he says, I did say I wanted to go on a second date. She said he took her on a second date, and I don't know where it's going because Leilani likes to touch. So she gonna have to do a little bit of touching and have a little fun herself. Lady, you went on several second dates. You just want an excuse to let little squarehead Sean swoon all over you. Honey, y'all like to play all day. These two like to play petty games with each other. She's like, are you excited to see her? He said, yeah, I'm excited a little bit. So then she said, so are you just excited to leave or what's going on? He's like, yeah, I'm excited to get out of the house. I haven't been out of the house in a whole week. So then she was like, oh, so you excited to get away from me? Well, child, it sounds like it, honey. But come on, let's move through this, honey, because we got to get to Darion and the mess. So Leilani rings the doorbell. Boom. Jessica goes to answer it, honey, in her, her cat suit, honey, her jumpsuit, her onesie. You know how she like to do, honey, showing all the body, yada, yada. She goes to the door. And so Leilani comes in looking snatched. Okay, Leilani, honey. You didn't tell me how beautiful she was. And she's referring to Jessica, and she whispered that to Eric, right? So Jessica said, so when I hear her whisper that, I was thinking, well, what did you expect when she said I didn't expect her to be that beautiful? Girl, learn to take a compliment, honey. This is not high school. So then she starts asking Leilani questions, right? She's like, so what do you do? Leilani said, I'm a skin therapist. Jessica said, oh, okay. Well, you can give us a couples facial. She said, yeah, I can give him one and he can book yours. Jessica said, no, I'll book it. I do everything around here. Honey, not y'all fighting, honey. The girls are getting catty. Eric said, Jessica has never acted like this before, but he guesses because she's beautiful, sexy, and has charisma. Eric, honey, tell us how you really feel. Like, what is happening? So then Jessica goes to get these Just Jess shot glasses. Okay, I just gave my name. Jessica, if you like that girl, you can take it, okay? So she goes to get the Just Jess shot glasses, and Jessica and all of them, they take a shot together. Honey, Jessica is bothered by Leona Lewis. Do y'all hear me? That's exactly who she reminds me of when I look at her. She reminds me of Leona Lewis. But that's neither here nor there. Let's keep going so we can get to the mess. Moving forward. Darion and Alexia chilling at home, honey, because he ain't got nowhere else to go. Okay, apparently the condo is gone, which I ain't buying it, honey. Who bought this condo in the middle of a pandemic in 10 days? Child, please. You just don't want to go back to the scene of the crime. So he's sitting there with Alexia, acting like he want to be home. Child, oh my goodness. So he comes in. He's like, what you watching? She's like, oh, you know what I always watch? I'm watching sports. So she was like, you're not going to the studio? He said, nope, just you. Just sitting here chilling with you. You putting a lot of stank on it, Smoke. You putting a lot of stank on it. He said, there's more than one reason, that I cut Kai off. But the main reason is Alexia. I want to make things work with her. Are you sure it wasn't fear of being exposed, honey? Because all of us out here think that's what it was. But okay, set yourself off. So he keeps trying to convince us that they're all fixed after 1 week. So Alexia was like, well, our assignment was to talk about marriage. So he starts babbling about the fun not stopping, and he wants the cuddles to continue. And she just sitting back underneath that blanket and smiling. I'm like, I could just slap his face. And I hate to hear him talk. I don't like to look at him when I hear him talk, because like I've said over and over, he looks like his breath smells. And I don't like that. I don't like the tone of his voice. I don't like the look. Ugh. Okay, I just can't stand it. It's just a side note. So he starts babbling or whatever. He said, he's getting married for her. Okay. So not for you, but for her. Nope, not gonna last, okay? You have to want to be married. Getting married to appease her will not work. He's like, happy life, happy wife. Happy wife, happy life. Honey, those little slogans and stuff, they mean nothing if you're a Smoke, okay? The way that you behave, it's not gonna work, no matter what little slogan you recite, okay? I'm just here to let you know that. So he's like, I want a baby. A baby will bring some excitement around here, keep us locked in. Honey, aren't you locked in 3 different places? Child, talking about a baby will keep you locked in. Spoken like a man that has never had children full time. Child, we can tell you don't live with your kids. Darion, kids are not a bandage for your failing relationship, okay? Your ideas are insanity. Honey, something is really wrong with you. If you think your relationship is bad now, add a child to it. Add a child to the weight of your relationship, it's going to collapse. Because let me tell you something. When you have a baby in the home with you full time from birth until, that is stressful. There are sleepless nights. The other partner starts to feel neglected. Oftentimes it's the man, because the woman has to pay special attention to the baby. You're up all hours of the night, and I know you ain't gonna do nothing. I can just look at you and tell. So everything's gonna be all on Alexia. She's gonna be sleep deprived. You're gonna be cheating. She's gonna be sick of being lonely, and it's gonna be some foolery. So you think a baby added to this mix is gonna work? Show you out your rabbit mind. You're gonna have to grow up, okay? He's like, yeah, a baby, they'll lock us in. Yes, legally for 18 years, but a baby will not save this mess. Moving forward. Alexia's like, well, Family Matters is my idea of a marriage. Well, Laura Winslow, Steve Urkel over there has been turning into Stefan Urkel when he gets with Kai. So you may want to reference one of the other TGIF shows and take it step by step, day by day. Y'all saw what I did there? Boom, boom, shh. Moving forward. She said, communication. I need checking in. I need you to come home every day. Not the basics of a relationship. Not the bare minimum, Alexia. That is the bare minimum. That's what he is supposed to be doing. Communicating with you. Bringing his black home at night. That's what he's supposed to be doing. Checking in. Child, She was like, and it shouldn't be a problem since the condo is gone, right? Honey, child, please. You said, my grandparents, they weren't Ward and June Cleaver. They were more like Tiger King and Carol Baskin, okay? They had these old school marriages. Till death did they part, with years of suffrage, okay? I'm not trying to be bound by no contract with no foolishness like that, honey, because, back in the old days, they would stay together through sickness and in health, through rich or for poor, and all that for real, okay? But today's day, honey, we'll get out in a minute. Be married on a Monday, divorced on a Sunday. Child, please. So he said, he was never shown good examples. Child, I don't really care. I mean, at first I was like, oh, okay. Because I really thought that this sit down with Kai was editing. I really wanted to hold out hope. I'm like, I know this. Child, I was about to call this man something. I'm like, I know this man cannot be that stupid. But he proved me wrong. Lex, on the other hand, she said she saw positive marriages and wants it for herself. Okay, girl. She said the two of them have been doing so good. Oh, child. Moving forward. Dr. Nicole goes to visit Jessica, and she's meeting with her because Eric still doesn't trust her because of that ex. And she says she wants to know what to do when Eric asks 21 questions. Jessica tells us she was picked on in school because she's the pretty girl with the nice hair, and she's light skinned, and she always had to defend herself, and her guard is all the way up because she's always had to fight. All my life I had to fight. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I just couldn't resist, but I'm going to be more serious, y'all. Let me get my serious face on, because, child, we got some mess to get into. And I'm back. So she said, she had to fight all her life, honey, because people were jealous and hating, basically. So she always has her guard up. And you know what? I'm sure it's hard after years of being picked on to try to let your guard down as an adult, because, I mean, the cattiness don't stop just because we increase in age. I'm just saying, and especially when you're with Eric and he's saying you don't have much depth, and every time you turn around, he's saying you have the personality of a box of rocks. So I'm sure that has to hurt as well. So Dr. Nicole asks what she wants out of the relationship. She said, I want trust and for him to love me unconditionally. He questions her motives all the time. Well, honey, it's hard to regain trust once it's been broken. Dr. Nicole said, basically, y'all are the same person. You bounce off each other. He does something petty, you backdoor with the petty yourself. She said, you need to be an example in your relationship. And does, moving forward, Tyree and all her beautiful melanin show up for the date with Lil Man, aka Sean. And let me tell y'all something. Her skin is beautiful. So Sean wants to know that he can spend time with a beautiful woman without telling them to hit his line later. This is what I realized. Sean is stuck in college. When he talks about his interaction with women, he's stuck in his college and his formative years. That's what I hear when I hear him speak about him being afraid to be around other women. And he's in a fraternity, so it was very accessible back then. Child. And I don't care how you look, as long as you got a brand and as long as you got letters behind you, 9 times out of 10, honey, in college they'll bust it wide open. I'm just saying. So then they start talking about their last date because they sit down together, right? She said, I was a little bit sore. He was like, well, I wouldn't. She was like, oh, okay, well, maybe you're a little bit more flexible than me. So then she said, so what do you like to eat? And then he gets flustered. Ew. Okay, boy, grow up. Don't be Captain Obvious. I can't stand when men do stuff like that. That is disgusting. So that let me know you just be chomping down on everybody's tuna. No, thank you, honey. That ain't cute. He's like, that's a loaded question. It's actually not. Okay. Your mind is just in the gutter. When she asked, what did you like to eat? I am almost certain she was referring to food. He's like, can I say food? Oh, child, Sean can be so cringe sometimes. She was like, yeah. He said, well, I don't do red meat. I don't do pork. She was like, so you eat chicken? He said, yeah, I love me some chicken. So does she. So he said, the lines are getting pretty blurred because we're vibing. Sean, you seem like the type to fall in love with every woman you meet. Honey, are you truly happy at home? Because you said the same thing about Brittany. Like, now I'm just so confused, honey. But we ain't got time to get into it as we get into it because we got to get on over to Darion and Kai because I got some things to say. So he asked her what made her want to do this experiment. She said because she wanted to know that the man had a girlfriend up front. That is a shame that we have been reduced to being okay with going on dates with men that already have a significant other. Child, relationships are given very much 1 star, would not recommend, honey. Oh, it's real ghetto. Child, it's just a mess. He said, so you been in that kind of relationship before? She said, yeah, more than once, where they lie about having a lady at home. Yes, honey. Yes, sis, they will lie. Have a whole life, a wife and children and everything at home. Honey, calling you on FaceTime in the parking lot of the daycare after he just dropped off Man. Honey, they will do it. Child, these men out here, oh, child. He was like, well, I used to be one of those. We ain't got time for that, Sean. Let's get into it as we get into it because, honey, we got to move on. So then he realized that he was over the dates and wants only LaRonda. I can respect that, but not before he flirts. So then he looks at her and he's like, did you get dressed up for me or did you have a photo shoot? She's like, no, this is all for you. He said, oh, well, let me go get my camera. Bum, 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 bum. It's a photo shoot. Moving forward. Day turns to night. Eric and Leilani get to their romantic date. Child, how long y'all been driving? Because I could have sworn y'all left home in the middle of the sunlight and now it's dark. But y'all, I don't know what y'all been doing, honey, because we watching everybody now after Kai and Darion. Let me find out, Leilani. So he's excited about the date because he can open up and she actually listens. So she said, she's never clicked with someone so fast and it feels like him and Jessica won't work out. Girl, he can't even understand you. Child, he don't know what he want. He don't even know what you're saying half the time. He just knows that you're pretty and that dress is sitting and that thing is thangin'. Honey, he does not know what you're saying. So they have a little small talk, which I'm sure he didn't know what was going on. And he's like, so what did you think about earlier? She's like, oh, I don't entertain pettiness. Oh, well, all right then, Leilani. He said, okay, so she was curious about you. She said, oh, really? Why? He was like, I don't know, smiling and everything. You know exactly why. Because you sat in that couples meeting saying she was very, very, very pretty. And y'all had a great conversation, even though you couldn't understand anything she was saying. So you definitely knew why she was curious about her. Yep, I got it, honey. He likes to play games. Eric, you and that hairline, y'all are too old for this. Okay? It's a mess. So Leilani said, if things don't work out, she would be open to dating Eric. Y'all just saying the old thing. He asked her how she became an esthetician, right? She was like, well, I used to work at this call center, but I didn't really know English well. And I knew that wasn't for me. So she switched to skincare. He said, you take care of your mom and your daughter? She said, yeah, it's the Spanish way. He said, well, I'm taking a little Spanish course right now. Boy, you asking Siri to translate what Leilani said last time is not a course. Not you talking to Siri and talking about you taking a Spanish course. Boy, whatever. So then he spoke a little Spanish to her, right? I'm not sure what language it was. I'm assuming it was Spanish. But I know he said she was pretty all up and through. So then she smiled and leaned over and he's like, these PDAs that she giving me, they getting out of hand. She touched your arm, bro. She touched your arm. It's not that serious, child. He was like, my partner gonna get mad. We almost shoulder to shoulder. Honey, as long as y'all ain't body to body, shout out to C Breezy, you will be fine, okay? Him and Jessica just have a bad habit of trying to make each other jealous. I ain't got no more time for y'all, child. Moving forward. Then they started talking about touching and Eric said everything aligned, but at the end of the day, he has to remember he has a girl at home. Will Packard at it again with the gentleman's lounge vibe plus Dr. Nicole. Sean starts talking immediately because Sean loves to talk. Starts talking about how at first he wanted to marry LaRonda, but now he realizes they have toxicity. He's very open and emotional and he feels like that she gets overwhelmed by that and feels like he's sucking the life out of the room because he gets too emotional. Let me tell you something. That can be overwhelming to take on someone else's emotions. It gets to be too much. So Dr. Nicole said that's why relationships are for grown people. Dr. Nicole, girl, baby, you are preaching tonight. She said, as men, they can shift the temperature in the room by what they do and what they say. Well, what he asked was how to navigate when he's overly emotional. But we thank you for this tidbit of information, Dr. Nicole. So Eric said, well, how many times can we do that before they say man up? Dr. Nicole said, well, if she says that, then that's inappropriate. I agree. You know what? Your partner should be your safe space. Now, if you're competing over Kleenex, that's something different. But there is nothing wrong with a man expressing his feelings. So Dr. Nicole said, there's a bias, especially with the African American community, about men and their emotions because we're taught from an early age that you shouldn't cry and you shouldn't feel. And she said, that's just asinine. If I pinch you, you're going to feel that. But you're taught to not express that. So when you become adults, you self-sabotage. And does, okay? And as she's talking, Darion over there shaking his head. Boy, gone. You know what? I had to actually be careful of this myself because I caught myself doing that to my son when he was like 3, saying, no, don't cry. You're a big boy. Boys don't cry. You're a boy. You'll be fine. And you know what? I had to check myself. I had to say, he has emotions just like everybody else. So now I allow him to fully express himself. I allow him to give me the tears that he has. Honey, sometimes he's crying over something falling on the floor, child, but he's sick, so that happens. You know what I'm saying? And I allow him to get it all out and cry if it hurts, because emotions are not gender specific. And I know we've been taught that they are, so I had to unlearn that behavior. Moving forward. So then Darion said, some things have surfaced that I didn't know hurt her, but now I know, so I can fix it. Well, if you listen to her instead of skipping off to that condo to cheat, then you would have already known those things. Boy, shut up. So Dr. Nicole said, so where are you now? He said, she said, if we don't get engaged at the end of this, then it's over. And I don't want to throw away 14 years. I don't think it's fair for me to have to give her a ring or it's over. Sir, that's the purpose of this process, as y'all like to call it. Also, why would she want to continue to waste time? It's been 14 years, honey. I wouldn't waste another 14 minutes with you. So he's like, I need you to make me feel better about getting engaged without fixing it. Child, even Dr. Nicole was looking at him like, what? Boy, you crazy. I know you fucking lying. Okay. Even Dr. Nicole said, look, I can't help you. She has the right to say, I want this or I'm walking. Honey, y'all been together a long time. It's been 14 years. Listen here, Darion. I know normally Dr. Nicole is team guys, but honey, she's a woman at the end of the day. And ain't nobody about to wait on you another 14 years. He's like, we're comfortable on this treadmill, but I feel like I've been wasting Lex's time. Honey, I'm glad you've come to terms. Moving forward. She said, y'all need to figure out if maybe y'all are just wasting each other's times and this is not it. So Dr. Nicole said you can either decide to be with her after 14 years or at the end of the process. She can say that, listen, I don't want to have to convince you to see me anymore. Woo! Finally, Dr. Nicole. This I'm with, okay? I was scared, honey. I was scared you was going to start talking about blank canvases and paint and crayons and Crayola rocks and all this other kind of stuff. But you actually were talking with some sense, child. Darion said, listening to Dr. Nicole read me, honey, as she should have, okay? It, just really made him look at himself. And she made me look like a narcissist, honey, and is. But she didn't have to paint you as a narcissist. We've seen it since episode 1. Welcome to what we've seen for 7 weeks. So Dr. Nicole told them, listen, you're in the driver's seat. There's no pressure. I don't know how there's no pressure when you're in the driver's seat, child. But she said, don't do it just to do it. You actually have to want to be married. If you don't want to be married, then don't do it. And actually tell us you're talking to Darion without telling us you're talking to Darion. Because we all know that Eric and Sean could really be gone by this point. So she leaves and Darion says, I didn't like that she said, that she has the right because of the 14 years. Those 14 years were not just hers. They were mine too. Where's my right? This old funny looking boy, you missed the entire point. You are definitely the narcissist we all knew you were. Moving forward. Sean said, I think what she's trying to get you to see is that, actions speak louder than words. You got to show her you're serious. He said, I am serious. I'm getting rid of the high-rise condo. Boy, That apartment you got over there in Bankhead, boy, goodbye. I'm not about to play with you, child. He might have a high-rise condo, but he look like he don't, child. It makes me, he said, it makes me money. Eric was like, well, what if she kick you out? Where you gonna go? To hell if he don't pray. So, child, here we go. Let's get into it. Everybody sit up and get close to whatever you're listening on, okay? The TV, the phone, let's get into it. So, Darion goes to meet with Kai. Honey, it's like an episode of the Wild Wild West. So, she comes in ready for war. So, she said, he ghosted her. Lady, he's in a relationship, okay? You can't ghost someone in a relationship. You knew that you were a part of an experiment, right? Child. She's like, so what's up? I haven't heard from you in 10 days. Honey, not you counting the days. He said, I wanted to talk face to face. A phone call would be disrespectful. You ain't feel like Ish was going to be disrespectful. Production felt like you needed a face to face. Okay? Let's just keep it real. So Kai is chomping down on that food. Honey, one thing about Kai, she going to eat if she don't do nothing else. Baby, Kai going to get her plate. So she's like, well, I've already been disrespected. So why now? He said, some things have occurred and within the 10 days between me and Lex, basically he's manipulated Alexia and convinced her to continue with this foolishness by telling her he's going to get rid of the condo that he slept with you in. But let's keep going. He said, if it was war about me going on these dates with you, I'm at peace now and I'm not trying to jeopardize that. She said, so I'm supposed to just let it float away? Take one for the team? He said, I was mending my relationship. I was staying in her face at all times. Honey, that is not going to be sustainable. Oh, child. You're so stagnant that you want to have a baby to spice things up. You also want to have a baby to trap her so she will forever be in your life. Honey, I would never lay with you. And you sitting here talking about I've been being in her face so she knows that I love her. Oh, okay, yeah, because that's going to make sense. She said, Darion is confused as a dodo bird. Let me tell y'all something. When I tell you I hollered at that, that was funny to me, honey. Some things just tickle me, okay? She said, he needs to start taking accountability for his actions. Stop making excuses. Be a man. Man up. Kai, Dr. Nicole said man up was inappropriate. I'm just saying, girl. I'm just telling you, honey. She said saying man up was inappropriate, but go on, sis, set yourself out. She said, well, did you tell her about the times we spent together? Honey, and didn't. And didn't I tell y'all she looked too comfortable in that car? That looked like one of those hop in the car and get real comfortable because I've been in here and the seat is already warm because I was just in here an hour prior. That's what they looked like when they were on the way to that date. And I'm almost convinced, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to say allegedly, that the two of you knew each other and dealt with each other before this show. Because the way y'all are interacting, honey, it don't seem like this was just something that just happened. So he's like, that's not going to help. Me telling her that's not going to help. Who is it not going to help? I think it's going to help you a lot to not let Alexia know that you have embarrassed her. I definitely think that will help you. So Kai said, it's like you never cared about my feelings. You would call when you were by yourself. He said, if I didn't care about your feelings, I would have called. He said, if I didn't care about your feelings, I wouldn't have called you for closure. Don't listen, sis, honey. It was all Dr. Nicole's idea, okay? None of this is courtesy of Darion. I just want us to be clear. She said, but it took you how many days? He said, I waited till it was the right time. I feel like it's only right to tell you face to face. Boy, cut the bull. So then she said, you just didn't want her to find out about us. You wasn't worried about that when you slept with me. Let me tell y'all something. When she said that, this is the first time I saw Casper in smoke. All the color in his face completely diminished, okay? His heart sank. She said, the things I'm saying, he can't deny. He will not play me for no fool. She said, you were caught up in the fact that we had great sex. So cheers to closure. And honey, that was the end of the episode. But y'all know this is not the end of the review because y'all, I'm about to get into it as we get into it. Darion, I'm just trying to figure out where you bought the audacity that you have. Alexia, honey, if this public humiliation doesn't cause you to walk away, I don't know what will. Listen, ladies, God gave us women's intuition for a reason. That condo is exactly what you thought it was, okay? Because he been knocking down Kai at that condo when you've been at home waiting for him to come home and lie to you. It's where he took all those groupies and the side thigh pockets to sex them up, okay? I knew that story he told her had more holes in it than Swiss cheese. That story that he told her about All Star, I knew that was some bull. Okay? I saw straight through it. You fell asleep. Child, what man gonna fall asleep on All Star weekend when all hoes are out? Okay? Child, please. The fact that you sat there and slept with this woman after a few dates shows that this is your MO. You look like you smell, so I'm shocked anyone lays with you at all. But I mean, she did, so now we're here. And Kai, honey, this was an experiment for you to go out with someone else's man. So you knew that he had a woman. I don't feel bad for you at all. You knew he had a girlfriend, so why are you mad? In the words of Evelyn Braxton, you chose to lay it low and spread it wide. See, this is what happens when women think their bodies and what's between their legs will secure their spot. This reeks of, I'll take your man. But after getting what you wanted and getting what he wanted, he back to fake working it out with Alexia. Girl, you calling him a dodo bird is laughable because you slept with him, knowing he had a woman. So I guess birds of a feather flock together, child. It's the hypocrisy for me. Now back to you, Darion. That's why it was so easy for you to get rid of that condo. You knew it would pacify Alexia long enough to get rid of Kai, but she didn't go quietly. Okay, she went kicking and screaming, and I wanted so bad to believe that this was editing. But then I knew you were trash. I knew you were a trash can, and it's actually pathetic. You meeting with Dr. Nicole, asking for help, gaslighting Alexia. Whole time your bald head, bad shirt wearing behind was living a double life. You ain't nothing but a musty breath cheater, child. A musty breath with an F. Yes, I said breath. A musty breath cheater. You don't care anything about Alexia. And you know what? What's worse is that you don't respect her. Because him cheating on her, you know, she's been there before. I mean, those 3 babies didn't just fall out of the sky. I mean, he wants to say that it was when they were on a break, but she knows that he's done that before. You don't respect her. Alexia, please respect yourself. Honey, we can't care more than you do. I can get on these reviews all day long and go off on Darion. Everybody can tweet. Everybody can say what it is they're going to say on social media, but we cannot care more than you. If the 14 years, the 3 other kids, and being humiliated on national TV doesn't do it, honey, I don't know what will. I hope you almost tired, child. And that's all I got. I ain't got no more. Honey, this was a mess. This episode was a drag because we didn't even get to see the rest of the dates because we had to get to the foolishness that was Kai and Darion. And Kai, I hope you are proud of yourself. You got exactly what you wanted, to lay down with somebody else's man. Darion, you little twerp, you're a scumbucket. And Alexia, please open your eyes and close your legs up to Darion because we are done with him. Okay? Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below exactly what you thought of the whole interaction between Darion and Kai. Do you think that Kai has a right to be upset? Do you feel like Darion is a trash can? Do you feel like Alexia is tired? Because I don't think she's tired yet. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.